I'm Mackenzie Adams with New York District Public Affairs Office. Today I'm here with Survey Branch, the members, and we're going to be introducing ourselves and talking about what we do. I'll start with you.
Hi, my name is Pradeep Padur. I'm Chief of Survey Support Section. My day-to-day duties is that I oversee everything in the Cardo section, make sure that our maps, our data is good.
Perfect.
My name is John Mraz. I'm the Deputy Chief of Survey Branch. So basically I oversee the three sections within survey sections, the three sections within the branch, and do the day-to-day management of the survey operations.
Perfect.
I'm Chad Bukowski. I'm an engineering tech, the earliest one here out of all of us. My day-to-days typically include editing data and mapping out the data that gets collected, on top of just hanging around the office and helping make sure everybody else is doing their jobs properly as well.
Awesome.
Hi, I'm Cal Suraj. I am the field survey section chief in Caven Point here, and I oversee all of the field collection.
Awesome. Okay. So Miguel, I'm going to start with you over here, put you under the spotlight. How/why did you get into this field?
I actually got into this field by accident.
Okay.
I was actually an engineering major in college, and I started doing this internship in the summer, probably about 15, 16 years ago. And at the time we had some antiquated equipment, but at the time it was really cool. It was all larks and really interesting. It was a little different from the norm, to say the least, and away from my field. And it was intriguing. And at the end of the summer, I was offered a position to come on full time.
Awesome. And you haven't looked
And
back
I haven't
since.
looked back since.
Awesome. Awesome. So what do you like, the most about working with Survey Branch?
I think every day poses a new challenge. I think it's interesting. You're never bored. You're always pushing the technology. Work with an incredible team. And so we're always challenging one another, and we're always trying to find more efficient, more effective ways to accomplish the mission.
Awesome. So does anybody have a story like Miguel of how they decided to get into Survey Branch, or anything they'd like to share? Absolutely.
I have a degree in planetary science and astronomy.
Okay. That's very different than what you guys
so
do.
Instead of looking at the stars, I ended up looking at the ocean. I was looking for a job the moment I graduated college, so for the most part anything would fit to begin. And I found out, and I landed a job here. It was very interesting because when working with space and planets and everything, you have the remote sense. You can't go to these planets and actually analyze the data from there. We have to observe it, take the information that we got, and then derive an answer from it. So in a similar sense here for hydros, we're on the top of the water, looking down, taking whatever information and figuring out what we're doing from this. And it ended up creating a similar way that my mind works, and I ended up really enjoying working here as well.
Kind of relating those things without you not necessarily think that's how they would relate.
Exactly.
Awesome, awesome. Anybody else want to share their story of how or why?
Well, the way I got into land surveying is that I got a part-time job of working of a small surveying firm. And I was going at NJIT at the time. I was studying engineering technology, so I actually enjoy working in the outdoors, and I also enjoy the technical aspect of land surveying. So I ended up changing my major to engineering technology survey option, which they offer that at NJIT. So then that's why I enjoy, doing land surveying.
Okay, and I think that we've talked about this too, where you came from a place where there actually was like a certificate or a degree in survey technology, but you've got such a diverse team here. Can you explain a little bit about what type of backgrounds, we kind of went through some of them, but what type of backgrounds it takes to build a team like this?
Yeah, it's really kind of interesting, and this is kind of an interesting group. Pradeep and I sit on this side of the table as surveyors before we came into the Corps, and on this side of the table are non-surveyors that came into the Corps. Miguel is being a little humble in his background. He was actually our administrative assistant's summer hire. He wasn't even a survey tech summer hire, and then stayed on his second year, came in as a engineering technician summer hire, and then started working in the survey section. But Miguel had a very strong IT background. So back then, computers were relatively new. So having someone with some computer skills that could actually work through computer problems and IT issues was a huge advantage when we were trying to push technology with building equipment and integrating equipment into our systems. Same thing with Chad. So, to look to see is, okay, here's a college graduate and he had a GIS background and was basically studying, changes in topography on celestial bodies and saying, hey, that's kind of what we do. Like, you don't really know that this is a fit for you until you tell us what you do, and then we see that, it can explain that this is a better fit, or this is a good fit for you, and how you can benefit and how we can benefit from your technology and your knowledge. And, of course, the land surveying background, it's kind of a given, that we do surveys, so running survey equipment and traditional levels and GPS and things like that, has a huge advantage. But that alone, doesn't really get us to the next levels and really push the limits of where we can go. It's kind of that combination of putting that all together, of having the land surveyor and, the technical person and the GIS person, and thinking outside that box, that really kind of brings the section and the branch to where it is now. So.
Yeah, kind of having that whole encompassing team, you need those different backgrounds. So John, I'm gonna stay with you. So what does survey section do in like layman's terms?
So pretty much we're a twofold mission. Primarily our mission is we manage project condition surveys for New York and New Jersey channels. So we go out, we do routine surveys each year of all the channels within the New York District's jurisdiction or boundaries. And we report those depths, and they go on to the NOAA charts, which is used by the navigation community in order to figure out where safe depth and passage is. Those surveys are also used for our engineers in order to determine where maintenance, dredging, and work needs to be done throughout the harbor. In addition, we're also the in-house survey crew for the New York District. So with whatever engineering projects or whatever projects the district is doing, survey branch is there in order to support those needs. So if we're on a beach replenishment job and the Corps is doing beach replenishment or a growing rehabilitation project and they need survey services, they call over here and we do those measurements or calculations and payments. And it can be anything from photogrammetry work to PR work. I mean, with our drone program now, we do a lot of just integrated video flying, photographic information, but also, like I said, surveying and measurement for whatever the district needs and whatever their projects are.
Awesome. So I'm glad you brought up the drones, because I wanted to touch on the technology that's used. And this can go to any of you guys, whoever feels best fit to answer this question. But what are some of the unique technologies that you guys are using, and how are you guys trying to make those technologies better for what you're trying to accomplish? I see you guys looking at each other. Who's going to take it?
So Miguel is the Airman Training Program Manager for the district.
Okay.
So he is assigned, so in order to get a drone program within the district, you have to go through headquarters, meet certain approvals, and then each district gets assigned an Airman Training Program Manager, and then that colonel assigns that person, and they oversee the drone program. And that's because of the very strict regulations that not only the drone programs have, but Army policy has on top of that. So Miguel is in charge to make sure that our district maintains and works within those regulations. So if anybody flies a drone within the New York district, they should be going to Miguel in order to ensure that the drone is being flown properly and meets all of the federal regulations.
So tell me about the technology. Tell me about your drones.
The most common one, right? Everybody, every recreational person who has a drone, they're fascinated with the photos, right, and the videos. But what we're able to do is we're able to do LiDAR, right? So we're able to.
So can explain LiDAR to somebody who, I know a little bit about it, but somebody who might not know what LiDAR is.
So we're pretty much sending a laser and we're 3D modeling, right,
Okay.
an area. And it's true 3D model, so it's true XYZ data. So if we go anywhere, if we flew the Long Island coast, which we normally do, and there was a boardwalk, and we surveyed that in. If you went there today, that's exactly where it is. So
Okay.
that's truly, we're creating a 3D model of whatever we're collecting. Wherever the drone passes over a certain swath coverage, or a certain viewpoint angle, we're able to collect all of that data in three-dimensional points.
And how quickly is that kind of translated to something?
It's a process.
Okay.
So the flying is quick, the processing is very, very long and very, very time consuming, especially with the processing power required. There's so many data points. So imagine looking at a photo, of this room, but every pixel in the photo has an XYZ attribute on it, where we can take a measurement and say this is its not only point in space, but elevation. And a lot of what we do in the core is relative around elevation. We dredge channels, we care about depth, we build, seawall protection or hurricane protections. It's an elevation requirement that we're protecting against. So that Z component, the up and down, is very, very critical, and that's what the LiDAR gives us to a centimeter level accuracy.
And then Chad, is that where you come in with analyzing the data, or is that a different point?
So when they end up going out and they collect the data with the LiDAR, we usually will end up in specific passes. We'll have each of the sets of data collected in that pass. And we will go in on our whole setup of the computers downstairs, and we use the same program that was on the drone to load in the passes in the survey that it collected. And there'll be light rays and other data points that we didn't want in the data, because with LiDAR it's light. So when a sun ray comes and hits it, it's going to think, oh, every single part of that sun ray was actual data.
Okay.
So we go in, and when we find erroneous points that, like, that's not part of the boardwalk, or that's a person, we don't need data on that person, that's not going to be there tomorrow, 10 minutes from now. So I'll go in and I go, okay, I know that we don't need that data, we don't need that data, until we have just the bare bones of all of the data points that are of the area that we're interested in.
Okay, interesting. And so are these kind of these images used to present on this, or how is that kind of used in the next step of the process?
So it depends on the deliverables of the engineer and the scope of work that's been delivered. So usually we will give them a 3D model, or we give them a DTM, and they can use that to calculate their volumes or see the change of grade, and we can put that onto a map, or give them HTML or an LAZ point cloud file, so where it gives the engineer a hands-on tool where they can measure and see change in elevations or grade.
Or meet contract requirements
Right.
is a big one.
I imagine that's very helpful.
So right now, like, we're doing like a groin project, and there's critical elevations on where the groin is to be placed, where the first level of stone is, where the final grade is. So, being able to go out and fly that, instead of traditionally going out and walking on a jetty or walking a construction zone, we can show the engineers or the construction representatives that the contract specifications are being met, the grade is correct before they move on to the next level and start playing the next base material. Or if we're in Greenbrook and we're doing certain structures that might be covered up later on, like with earth mounds, before that's covered, we can document, and they can show that, again, critical elevations are being achieved and the proper placements are being met.
And with the addition with the drones, it allows us to collect high density LiDAR or point clouds, which keep us in a safer manner, where
Okay.
we don't have to be in an active construction zone.
Okay.
So like you're not putting somebody on like the groin. which
Right.
When water gets on, it gets slippery.
Right.
So now we've put somebody in danger where they can hurt themselves. Now with the drone, we can fly over that. You can go into areas where, and a lot of the times what it is proven to be is, we're on a job site and we see a feature that may be important to the engineer, but they didn't realize that that was important to them at the time. And we're modeling the beach and we saw this artifact and we're like, hey, is this important to you? So having that good open communication with the engineers has been very invaluable.
Right. And so other than the drones, understand that you guys have a lot of other technology that you guys are using. I know about the backpack, and I know about some other, boats and unique things that you guys have kind of custom built. So can we talk about some of that other technology?
So not only have the drone, we have to have, so we like to say we have to be technically competent and mechanically competent. Not only we have to be technically, we have to be mechanically. And what we mean by saying that is that we have to deal with RTK,
Which is?
Real-time
kinematic.
Okay.
And then we have to deal with GPS.
Yep.
And then we got to deal with a boat. We have to deal with sonar, and we have all different types of sonar technologies that we have to deal with. And not only, we have been pushing for our branch to get 100% esonification of the bottom of the seafloor, which is, historically, we used to go every 100-foot sections, a cross section along the channel. Now we can collect a full spectrum of multi-beam soundings of the bottom, which will help us to identify if there's any wrecks or any objects on the bottom or something like that. So, which will give our boaters safe passage.
Right.
So that's a big deal is, so, traditional surveys were done, if this table was the channel, a single beam, which would give you a single sounding of record, a depth, would be run across the channel, and they'd be spaced, 50 or 100 feet apart. So you'd basically have lines of data that are coming through, and you'd have no information like what's happening between those lines. So what Pradeep is saying is 100% sonification of the bottom means that I can see everything that's happening on the bottom. So this object that's sitting in the table, perhaps a single beam line missed it here and it missed it here, but 100% of sonification guarantees that if there's anything within the channel bottom that we can see it. So the evolution of that technology is multi-beam, and that's the predominance of what we do. Our primary mission is project condition surveys New York and New Jersey, as we mentioned before, and to make sure that we're reporting proper depths. So that multi-beam has just grown over the number of years in its capabilities and what we've been able to do with it. So, our first multi-beam boat is the Dobrin that's out there, and, some of the equipment, the serial numbers on it were 001 and 002. So, the system's Windows couldn't even handle that kind of data. It was actually a Unix system that, like I said, was well in advance of its time. So, now the equipment has gotten more advanced, it's gotten smaller. We've been able to put it on smaller boats, which has been able to deploy more boats at, increased or significantly decreased cost and increased productivity because of mobilization and demobilization. But being able to survey all of our channels and give 100% of sonification in the bottom just gives our customers, which is the pilots and the people using our channels, just more information.
Awesome. So maybe we'll shift a little and talk about why would somebody want to come and work for survey section, or what, in your opinion, is the best part of working for survey branch or survey, within this realm for the Corps?
The best part of working for survey branch, I'll say, is that our bosses has empowered us to create a system like the backpack system. We created a buggy system, and these are all autonomous LiDAR system where we have the freedom to experiment and solve issues, and which will keep us to not only collect our data safer, but faster and more efficient. So that's one of the perks that I enjoy working for Survey Branch.
Anybody else?
I think Chad would be a good person to
Yeah.
answer.
Yeah, tell us about
Chad
the
hasn't been here
space.
very long.
Oh, I would say I haven't been here nearly as long, but I would definitely say there is a lot of opportunity here where if you truly set your eyes onto something, and they're willing to humor you and let you try, or you can make a joke, say let you fail, but we all try not to fail. But we each have our different ongoing projects on top of our day-to-day work that would be like our passion. So like when it came to astronomy and everything, it was a lot more coding and software based. So when it came to me working here, doing my day-to-day jobs, I then get to write little scripts and everything. So I can go, this part of my job's a little takes a little bit more time. Maybe I can write a little bit of a script to make my life a little bit easier. And by empowering us to be able to say, yeah, you can do that, instead of, no, this is this, it kind of lets us be a little more like free and comfortable with the work that we're doing, kind of give us a little bit more of an ownership over the actual products that we're giving out. It kind of gives us more pride in saying like, no, like I worked hard for this. Like I actually,
Right.
I put in my own sweat. I'm not just clocking in for a 9 to 5 to go home. I'm going, hey, like I came in, like I got to do what I wanted to do, and then I get to do it again tomorrow, rather than just, let's just get out of here. And I think that's one of the greatest parts of being able to come and work here, is that type of freedom that I don't know how much you actually do get in other parts of the district or other jobs.
Right, absolutely.
I think Pradeep and Chad, said it well. I think what they're missing is, not everybody wants to work in survey branch, first of all, you're going to have to want to work. So, we do. We're not telework employees. We come to work every day. You know, we have to be here. I mean, this is our physical job. We're physically in-person workers. And we do a lot of work. In addition to our regular work, like Pradeep said, we empower our people to do things that they're passionate about. So, if you like to work on computers, then you do your regular job, and then as we push technology and advance it, if that's something that you're passionate about is, okay, then you can kind of steer that direction. If you like, drones, okay, well, I'd like to push a drone program within the district because I'm passionate about drones and I like flying drones. Then we'll let you kind of steer that avenue. And that's basically how these things come about. We didn't just one day wake up and say hey, let's, start flying drones. It's because someone was very passionate about drones and said, I think this would be a useful tool in what we do. Let me show you, what I do in my spare time. Or, I like to work on computers and, I can do networking and things like that. So I think, that empowering of your people makes them more engaged about their work. They want to come to work because they do stuff that they like, but at the same time, we still have our job to do. So it's just not all research and development where you just get to play. There's an end game and there's also work to do in between. So, it becomes very challenging. We work a lot of hours, a lot of our projects. It's not uncommon that, it'll be, 10 or 11 o'clock and crews will still be out on a job site, driving back from Long Island. We laughed because Colonel Lozado was here like in the summertime and, it was 6 o'clock on a Friday or something and he came rolling in the parking lot and saw a bunch of cars in the lot and just said, who's still here? And came in, he's like, oh, it's survey branch. We're like, yeah, we have a job to finish, we have deadlines. And, the guys in here, they put in a lot of hours. And the way they can do that is because they have their regular work and then they have their passions that are trying to drive that technology.
Right, and keep the program moving.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's all the questions that I really had to ask. Is there anything else that anybody would like to add that we could go around the table or anything I might have missed?
No, I think our career here has been very rewarding. How often do you get to impact a $200 billion commerce, right? Or be involved in a $2 billion flood protection program in the coast of Long Island, and you get to see those projects impact a $200 billion commerce, right? Or be involved in a $2 billion flood protection program in the coast of Long Island, and you get to see those projects. I was fortunate enough when I started here, it was probably closer to the end of the deepening projects, but we got to see it to a point where now you start seeing bigger ships coming in, right? So you really get to see your work, whatever your impact on the economy as a whole, and the public, and it's something that you take with you.
Yeah, it goes back to the public service thing, which is, I think we all probably align with, to some extent, working for the Army Corps of Engineers.
I think we're kind of fortunate also is, we have a lot of support from our upper leadership. So our Chief of Operations, Randy Hintz, Colonel Lozado and, the colonels before him, have supported us, over the years. I think we've shown them that, obviously we can take technology, we can do more with less, we can produce better products, we can help the district, but we would not be where we are if we did not have the support of our leadership. And one of the guys, obviously doesn't want to come and sit in this because he's so modest, but he's kind of built this with a vision of, what he wanted Survey Branch to be. 6 months or so, you're going to start seeing some new technology that, that he's had some vision on, and we've got some new equipment coming out. Hopefully we get another shot at Innovation of the Year.
Yeah.
We can maybe win another one, but, it's that kind of vision and support from upper management and, having his boss support him and then having the commander support, them, is really kind of a big deal. The people like in the organization really make it, and it wouldn't be the same without leadership.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys sitting down with me today. It's been really informative, and hopefully we'll be able to see some of that new technology and get out there with you guys soon and kind of highlight some of the work that you guys are doing. But thank you, I appreciate it, and that's all we have today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.